Welcome to the 5 do's and the 5 don'ts when it comes to buy to let. I want to have a bit of a different video here to really just help people out when it comes to making that first move, that first step into property investment, but also helping people scale, that those that want to really build their active and passive income over time. And there's a little bit on that in terms of the best strategy and the best ways of doing it, but there's certainly 5 things you really should avoid. And it's really important, especially if you're just starting out. For those who don't know me, my name's Jason Davies. I help everything related into property and property investment, also wealth and financing and general mindset and growth mindset. So if this video has value to you, please subscribe. It does help get this video out to like-minded people like yourself. And as I said, if you're interested in anything property related, click the notification bell and we'll give you more and more material every week. So let's deep dive straight into the first do and the first don't of buy-to-let investments. So you're new to property investment and you want to get into property, or maybe you're a landlord already. You want to improve your cash flow and maybe even get into buy another property investment. Maybe you're completely new to this, or maybe actually you've got a few already, but you really want to scale that. But ultimately, these do's and don'ts I'm about to tell you sometimes are the pitfall for so many investors. And that's why, you know, anything in life, I always think, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Nothing worthwhile is easy. It's hard. It takes work. It's graft. It's a lot of work with the long-term view that you're going to build something special for the future. And I want to touch a little bit about that in terms of passive income and active income and the differences. My first do when it comes to property investment, especially if you're new, is make sure you research the area. It's absolutely key. Now, when we say research, there's a little bit more than just going around to the area you want to invest in, having a look around the area, understanding a little bit about what your cash flow will be, and that's about it. But you need to do a lot more. It needs to be much more extensive than that. What kind of tenants are you aiming for? What kind of area is it? Does it have regeneration? Does it have potential growth in the future? Is the area you're going for ultimately, are you just looking at the purchase price and therefore the rents that you're going to be getting? Because that's not good enough. You might choose an area which looks like actually there's a lot of people that rent in this area, but actually no one really buys houses. And therefore, if you choose that, it's going to be a low purchase price, you're in the game, you've spent about 30,000 in your investment, you think, great, I'm going to keep getting returns, but you're not. You're going to have troubles refinancing it. Your tenants are probably going to leave the property quite regularly. You're going to have void periods. The crime rate could be higher. You're just not going to get the return that you looked for initially. And it's because there's a reason why people don't buy in that area. Now, we use the track model, and I've got a video on this if you want to check it out, in terms of how do we really make sure we do the right research in the area to make sure we get all the returns that we need when it comes to our investment. Not just cash flow, but also capital appreciation and thinking about that long-term gain. Because the property is a long-term game. It's not get rich quick scheme or anything like that, which is just absolute bullshit. There is no such thing as it. You have to work hard in anything in order to get something decent that comes out of it. And that leads me to my don't. But before I do, now what we focus on when it comes to investment is livable. We've done the research, we understand the area, and we know what the returns are. We don't just look at things like cash flow, we look at what we call the return of capital employed. And whatever investment you get in, you get some of the best returns. We know the area is upcoming, it gives you the best in terms of the next 5 years growth, regeneration in the area. We believe it's one of the best areas to grow, and we can share with you a brochure on that and how we can have a discussion. So if you are interested in property investment and you're looking for the best returns, in the comment box just put LHG and we can hopefully have a quick discussion and see how we can strategize your investment. When it comes to don't, please don't think it's an easy game. It's not easy money. First of all, I don't think there's such thing as anything that's, as I said before, anything is easy that's worthwhile getting, but it's not easy property. Investing in property in a correct way takes time, it takes experience, it takes skill. Okay? And again, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it, even if they have money available to invest. So it's really key to not assume that if you're going to start on property, you're going to be rich actively and passively in the next 3 to 6 months. It's just not going to happen. But what you can do is make sure you do it the right way, educate yourself, invest in yourself first. So if you're watching this video, you've already made a great start. And then also get Get involved and get around people that have got those skills, that have gone on that journey and can show you that return, rather than trying to make all the typical mistakes that a lot of people make from the very beginning. It's also important to realise the difference between active income and passive income. You ultimately probably want to go into investment, property investment, because you want passive income. You want this dream about potentially travelling and earning money all the time, earning money as you sleep. Well, I mean, ultimately, passive income can happen in the long term, but it's not something in the short term. You're going to have to be actively involved in this. And hey, even if you've got your own business and a property portfolio, you're always answering to somebody. There's no such thing as full passive world where you're just not involved in anything. Even if you have people working for you, you're still ultimately working for them and providing the strategy for your team. So it's really key that you don't get swallowed up in this fantasy world where it's, you get a few property and then you can just retire. Have a purpose. What do you want to achieve? If you want to do that, what's it going to open up for you to do in order to have time to do something else? Because it doesn't just unlock money, it unlocks time. So the next do and don't is make sure you have a strategy, a property investment strategy. And obviously the don't is don't wing it. Don't think it's easy, coming back to my original point. When you go into property investment, like anything in life, what you can be is a generalist, jack of all trades but master of none, or you can actually really be a specialist. When it comes to property, that's exactly what you need to do. When you get into property, especially if you're first to this, you realise there are so many different options when it comes to strategy. But if you do them all, you ultimately become no good at all of them because you're not focusing. Are you going to go for a buy-to-let? Are you going to go for a HMO, house of multiple occupancy? Are you looking at lease options? Maybe you're interested in flips. Maybe you want to buy, refurbish, refinance. Maybe you're looking at industrial conversions. Maybe you're looking at commercial conversions. Maybe you're looking at commercial properties. I mean, not residential. There are so many different types, and each one of those types have a different strategy. So if you're trying to, be involved in them all, you're going to be no good at any. And that's really important. You might choose, and to be honest, all strategies can work. Any strategy can work. We focus on buy-to-lets. I think it's one of the best strategies out there, and they always work. But again, anyone can choose a different type of strategy. I've got lots of different people that I know that have all those different types of strategies, and they work. They all have their pros and cons, of course, but they work. But what you need to do is focus on one, and not go into one and then change direction, then go to another one. If you don't know your original direction, the end point destination, i.e. having a strategy, you're going to end up really not getting much value at the end of it and not much returns ultimately from your investment because you keep hopping about. How can you compare a buy-to-let maybe investment and a lease option? Someone might go for a lease option because they don't really need much, if any, money to invest. But a lease option is miles apart from a buy-to-let. A lease option has a completely different property type. It demands different types of tenants. The contract process can be much more complicated. The vendor negotiations are completely different. It cannot be compared. So you choose a strategy and you stick with it. The next do and don't is all about financing your purchase. So don't, especially if you're new to investment or even if you're scaling, just opt for a mortgage, the first mortgage you see with the lowest interest rate. What a lot of people don't do is actually have a strategic plan for financing, and they just literally think, okay, I'll go to a bank and get the best lending option, but that might not be the best, because remember, the right deal may not always be the cheapest. The other side of this is don't approach your mortgage broker with the sole intent that actually the broker is only there to get you signed off on a mortgage. A broker can be used so much more in terms of value, ultimately in terms of your investment future and how you plan your investments. And the more you build that relationship with the broker, and the more you share with them the understanding in terms of what your long-term goals are, what your strategy is, the best place the broker can be in helping you get to that point. The next point, as I said, is an absolute don't. You don't just focus on the mortgage with the lowest interest rate. Because again, you're only focusing on the monthly charges, but you're not looking at the whole thing holistically. Often, sometimes with the lowest interest rate, you're going to lose out on a lot of other elements. For example, there might be a penalty fee for refinancing at a certain date or a period of time, which there often is. There might be a very high cost associated to the RICS survey. Maybe that low interest rate mortgage has very high proc fees, and these proc fees go to the mortgage broker. So, as I said, there are other hidden costs associated with this. You can't just go and opt for the lowest interest rate. It's not ultimately what you're paying, it's the value you're getting. So there are my main do's and don'ts when it comes to your property investments, particular to buy to let. Really make sure you have a strategy. Don't go in absolutely blind to this. You'll find the issues later on down the road if you don't have a good strategy to begin with. So thanks very much guys for listening and being part of this video. As I said, if you could gently remind you to lightly tap the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We want to educate you and we want to help you on your property investment journey. As I said, the first investment you need to make before any other is yourself. Invest in yourself, and I can certainly help you to do that. And as I said, please like, subscribe, it really helps me, and that YouTube algorithm, that thing in the background that gets everything. I want this video to go out to any people like you to really help them in their property investment journey. So thanks very much, and if you're still staying on YouTube for a little while, check out some of our other videos that might be of interest to you. Thanks.